On Fanalysis, we combine the analytics of fantasy football with the metrics of sports betting, and we are now joined by a sports investment analyst, Jared Lee Smith, joining us once again. Jared, let's be honest. Betting on the Jets this year hasn't made anybody any money. However, there are possibly some future plays that might be a little intriguing, that maybe grab your attention. So let's start with one of these prop bets. The prop for them going 0-16 is at plus 330. Where do you land on that?
I think that's more of a pie in the sky kind of bet, Steve. And you know, when you look at these long shot odds, you have to look at the implied odds of what the numbers telling you in your head. If that's the handicap, it's almost impossible to calculate that because you're basically parlaying 10 more losses, and you don't know what the lines are going to be in that game. So you have to look at it from a big picture perspective. And when you look at the schedule, big picture, a lot of losses over the next few weeks. Now down the road, late, I could see them stealing a game. And we talked about this before we came on, but the Jets are the type of team that would win that meaningless game at the end of the season to get out of the #1 pick. So I think for that reason, this is more of one of those bets you just kind of enjoy and watch the line move, but you don't actually risk your money, because I do think eventually somebody will show up for this Jets team and they will win a game. It's hard to go 0-16 in the NFL.
It is, because somewhere along the lines, you're going to get the breaks. Some point, you know, you're going to have that interception return for a touchdown or a kickoff return for a touchdown or some major turnover that's going to turn things around. But, you know, we thought that they were going to be a terrible team last year, and they ended up winning 6 of their last 8. I guess I'm just wondering whether or not something clicks with this team. Something clicked with the team last year. I don't know if they have the ability to flip the switch this year, though.
Yeah, it's tough. I wouldn't want to be betting on the Jets every week, and that's kind of
praying for a win.
Yeah, exactly. So to lay that is the other side of it. If you want to bet on them not to go 0-16, you have to lay minus 470 or something, and that's even a tougher. I mean, so I think when you look at the Jets going 0-16, it's a fun thing to think about, or not fun if you're a Jets fan like me. But it is people like extremes. They like 16-0. They like 0-16. People root for those kinds of narratives. So it's one of those things you watch and you enjoy, but you don't necessarily risk your money on.
Okay, so let me ask then: would it be an easier hit for the Jets to actually just have the worst record in the NFL? And right now that's at minus 170.
Yeah, and I like that a lot more. In fact, I did bet that. I did bet that, and that's something. So the implied odds of that are about 63%. That's what minus 170 means in the marketplace. So to me, that is a better bet. I can't think of in 4 out of 10 scenarios the Jets not having the worst record in the league. So that, in my eyes, I think
they'd have to get 2 wins to not have the worst record.
Exactly. So I think it's more like 8 or 9 out of 10 scenarios the Jets will have the worst record in the league this season, and that's a significant difference in what the odds are telling you. So that, to me, is a bet. I think you are seeing value there, and I think it's really more the narrative than the personnel. A lot of people are, and the reason for that is you're going to have a chance late in the season, if there is a tight scenario, to bet on the Jets as an underdog to hedge off of your bet a little bit. That's why I like the minus 170 there. I think that's a good bet.
These are morbid for Jets fans to even think about laying money on all of these, but we must continue because these are plays for it. These are investment opportunities for you. All right, last one here. Will Adam Gase be the next coach fired? That's at minus 150. Is that a little tricky, the wording of that, next coach fired?
And that's where bettors, when they're betting these props, they are fun to bet. We do it on the Super Bowl all the time. The coin flip's easy. It's either head or tails. Sometimes when you look at these really specific props, make sure you read the wording, because Gase could get fired this season, but there could be 4 other coaches that get fired before him. And I actually think, based on what we've heard from some of the rumblings around camp and around the team, that Gase's job is relatively safe compared to some of the other coaches in the league. I don't get it.
Why would they let him go at this point in the middle of the season right now? Unless there's an absolute revolt by the players that start a petition and go to Christopher Johnson and ask for him to get fired. He's not going to get fired before the end of the season. And then it comes into a question, is he the first guy that gets fired on Black Monday?
And that could be the answer. But then you're betting on, is no other coach going to get fired during the regular season?
Then what you're betting on, and then what you're betting on is the Jets PR staff would be the first ones to send that out. So I don't know if that would be the play that you necessarily want to go with.
That's a good point. I didn't think of that too. If multiple firings happen on the same day, it might be like a photo finish, like in a horse race.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, the funny thing is there'd be people in Vegas that would be closely eyeing those
100%.
press releases. Absolutely. All right.
See everything.
Well, that is, you know, a bleak look at the Jets' futures, but make sure you check out his top plays for the week in our other segment. For Jared Smith, I'm Steve Overmyer. This is Fanalysis.